up, guys? Tim also with DragBoss Garage. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, DragBoss is on a road trip to Genoa, Ohio. So if you look around, it's pretty foggy out. And I don't like talking and doing videos while I'm driving, but you can see I'm not looking at you because I'm watching the road and I'm on a highway. There's not a lot of cars actually coming to go across a big bay in Lake Erie. So I'm on my way to APD Carbs, Advanced Product Design. Now this company is owned by John Kyle, and I had talked to him on the phone about getting a possible Dominator for Mrs. DragBoss's Mustang to try when I dyno it to see if I can get some more horsepower instead of using the APD Billet Enforcer that I have. And I brought that with me. You can see it kind of in the back seat. So John and I are going to talk about carburetors. We're going to get some history of APD, meet some of the employees. We're going to have lunch and see what we can work out for a new Dominator for Mrs. DragBoss's Mustang, the 615 horsepower 354 cubic inch Cleveland. So welcome to the tour and the journey. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so we're coming into APD. John told me he had 17 employees. So here's the shop here. Can't wait to check it out, see what it's like. Gotta find a parking spot first. This is a busy little place. But I don't know what that is, but it looks like cylinder heads or something way over there. Let's get inside. What's up, guys? Tim also with DragBoss Garage. Yes, I'm inside the main office of APD. And I always say APD carburetors. That's how I've always known it. Next to me, come on in here, John. I don't know if you're a big guy, so we might have to back up. But this is John Kyle. He's the owner of APD, Advanced Product Design. Great logo, by the way.
Thank you.
So he invited me to come here to his establishment, his business, kind of get some history from him, how he kind of started. We'll get some basics from him, and oh, hi.
Is that Chris? Can't function without delivery.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
That's a UPS driver. So anyway, so we'll kind of, I'll give you a little information. He built me this carburetor. This is a 1050 Billet Enforcer. You've seen this many times on my channel. One of the best carburetors I've ever had. Really haven't had to do much with it at all. So I wanted to get one for Mrs. DragBoss's Cleveland that we're building that we're going to dyno. So I called up and I started talking with John about carburetors, and I didn't know that they make carburetors, their own line of cylinder heads, rocker arms, manifolds. Wait till you see some of this stuff. I think it's going to blow you away, because if you don't know what's out there, you don't know what's out there. And that's why I want to bring this to you, because you're always seeing and learning something new at DragBoss Garage. I always say that.
And we do a lot behind the scenes, a lot of private label, other people's names.
Oh, really?
Line of mandrels, brackets, I mean, fuel pumps, belt drive fuel pumps, all the accessories.
Nice.
A lot of products.
So you know where I'm going to get that bracket made for that crank trigger for her motor?
Probably already have it.
Hey, you never know. I made one out of cardboard.
Yeah.
So I just got to make it out of metal and drill and tap a couple holes in it and fine. But so let's we're going to stop here. We'll kind of get into the shop and look around. Stay tuned. Check this out, guys. This is a carburetor. Look at that, billet aluminum. Unbelievable. Those throttle bores. And then these are some of the rocker arms he has. 16.5 Assassin available in 1.8, 1.85 ratios. Headhunter 175, 1.8, 1.85 ratios. Check it out. Let's go into the shop. So we're walking out into the nerve center. Yeah, we know these aren't washing machines, right? Yeah, you're right.
This is a sub-spindle bar fed Mazak. It's making the rocker arm bushings for the thrust for the side of the bushings.
Yeah.
Pretty much you load bars in, and it's got a spindle, 2 spindles, one on each side, so it can make the part from this side, grab it from this side, turn it from the back side. Also got live milling.
I mean, look at these. I love all the different drill bits and cutting tools on it. So this bar stock here is what you use. And I'll look at guys. That's how long this feed is. Which
and you can load, you can load 20, 30 bars up in it.
Really?
Once you get it running good, it'll run lights out.
Wow. Yeah, when you come out here, it's like, because I've been here before one time. It's like out in the middle of nowhere, you know, and it's like, where is this place?
We have another facility that's about this size.
Oh, you do?
That I have 1 5-axis machine. We make all of our gaskets, small parts.
You make your own gaskets,
Yeah,
that orange type. I like those gaskets. They're quality, man, and they easy to take apart the float bowls. They never
It's made
tear.
out of a material called MP15.
Okay.
But yeah, we make all of that at the other facility.
So if guys want to buy parts from you, they can buy small parts.
Other carburetor builders, whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's something we got to get out. That's for sure. So here's one of the machines here at APD. I'm not sure what it is, but let's take a peek at it, and John will explain to it. This is one of his men here working it. It looks like some kind of wire feed or something.
It's a wire EDM. You have a 10,000 wire that will come down through the hardened plate. It'll thread itself through that hole, and then the wire will cut the gear out.
Like piano wire cut.
Yep, it'll cut the shape of the gear, and then you
Let me zoom in, guys. Now these gears are going in what? What are you putting them in?
A belt-driven fuel pump.
So John, so you guys make your own fuel pump?
Yeah, we make everything. All the components, shaft, gears, housing.
Wow. So it's a belt-driven fuel pump. That's amazing. Okay. We'll have to check that out, guys. But yeah, so that's the machine that does it. It's amazing technology. So guys, there's a lot of machines going on. You can hear it. So you got to listen in, turn up that volume. But I was just taking a peek at this. I see this block in this hone machine. And John goes, oh, you know where I got that? I said, no. Where? He goes, oh, that's Larry Morgan's old hone machine. I'm like, oh. So Larry Morgan, if you're watching it, it's in a good home.
I'm making base plates, and this is making fuel bowls.
So, whoa, so this is making fuel bowls. Check that out. So it's making these. That's amazing. Light too.
Starts as that.
Let me show the guys that. So it starts out as these billet blocks that weigh probably, I'd say they weigh about 2 pounds. Yeah. I saw these outside. Chunks everywhere.
Everywhere.
Aluminum's my favorite metal. But look at that thing.
Every time we hang go, we get one finished part. Does it all in one setup. That runs that piece and runs it on the 5th axis platter and comes out completely done.
How long does it take to make one fuel bowl?
Probably half hour.
Half hour. How many chips do you go to? Yeah. People buy that, they come in and get the scrappers.
I'm not I give it to
Nice.
them.
That's nice. There you go, Mom and Dad.
About 30 grand a year.
That's nice. And then this one is making, it looks like the carburetor body itself.
That's the base plate. 4150 base plate.
Okay, I see.
Making that
There
right
it is.
there.
So it's mounted on that mount there, whatever
Yep.
it is. Amazing. I love it. Now all we see is a car wash, so we can't see much of that. That's my kids, you know, when you're riding a car wash. So let's keep going, guys.
This is making metering blocks, right, Josh? Yep.
What's up, Josh? Tim also, DragBoss Garage, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So it's making these metering
That's the
blocks.
first operation of the metering block.
Look at this stuff, guys. Let's see if we can see it. There it is. Josh, how many do you make at a time? Or you cut at a time?
6.
How long does it take to cut?
Almost a half hour.
Okay. So look for this video on YouTube or DragBoss Garage on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Where are you from?
Sandusky.
What do you do? Just make videos?
I work in an ER,
Yeah.
physician assistant, but I have a YouTube channel part-time, drag race. Been running one of the carbs, so we're gonna work on one now for a motor upload.
Cool.
So I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank
no problem.
you.
Fuel pump pulleys there. That's the Gilmer belt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That get 2 rings that go on it to guide the belt.
Look at that thing. Just for if you wanted to make one, just to make this thing, you want to make something, is it hard to do on a machine? Just program it in, blah, 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 and it comes out in 6
Yeah, I
inches.
mean, to do them in quantity like that, we
Yeah.
buy this already extruded.
Yep, okay, okay.
But to do one, we would fill all that.
So you could make custom stuff if you wanted. Oh, yeah.
And we patented it with K&N. It's a bottom feed fuel bowl. So the fuel goes in the needle and seat, it's channeled out the bottom of the bowl and it gets rid of all the foam.
Really?
Yeah. Me and Sullivan developed that, and me and Steve Williams at K&N patented it.
Now, when you talk about Sullivan, who are you talking about?
Mike Sullivan.
Mike Sullivan.
Wayne County Mike Sullivan.
Okay, so you know him really well.
Yeah, very well.
Give him a big shout out.
Yep. Mike's a smart guy.
Maybe we'll get him on for a YouTube live chat. This is another bar-fed machine that cuts.
It might not be. That's making fuel pump shafts. Okay. We make all of our valve guides on this machine.
What do you make the valve guides out of?
Amco 45.
Okay.
Or Mold Star, depending on what someone wants.
Sorry,
Make all of our
guys.
own valve seats. That's making another style fuel bowl.
Wow. So what do you have new on the horizon as far as carburetors go?
We've been working with Mike Laws fairly heavily into the twin blade carburetor.
Really?
So we'll have a line of that coming out real quick. We're going to run it in the drag race, and then Willie is going to run it big in the circle track market.
Now, Willie, is that like Willie's the carburetor? Okay.
Carburetor and Dyno. Yeah,
Got it.
He pretty much dominates in round track land, so he's going to introduce it into that. We've already did testing, and going to work well.
Without a huge explanation, do you think there's an advantage of a twin blade compared to a 4-hole?
Application permitting.
Okay.
I mean, it has its home. Anything that's restricted to a 4150 and will allow a twin blade, I think, has an advantage.
Really?
On an open carburetor market, I don't think there's a huge advantage.
Okay. Maybe we're going to have to test one.
We can do that.
All right, let's keep going.
We're making rocker arms on.
These are making steel rockers.
So here's a machine now that's set up making their steel rocker arm. Proprietary.
Yeah, this is a 3X rocker arm for all the Pro Charge 3X motors, blower motors.
How many more that is? 3X?
3X and real common, like individual style head.
Okay.
Very good, like quarter truck.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes it all in one setup. We get this is 4340 pre-hard steel.
Yep.
So it sets up there. It puts the dovetail. They go up here, and it cuts this dovetail on here, and then it can go in here.
Yep, I see how it fits in there.
And then it does the first operation, second operation. So it does all 3 operations in one cycle. So every time you hit go, you get 3-phase rocker.
Wow. Now is this the master? Or is this one being made?
That is the finished part.
Wow, let's check. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is this part here. It's not pulled off.
So it looks like this, guys. Three rocker arms at once.
This is the new Brodex. They're calling it the M18. Mike Anderwick did this cylinder head for Brodex.
Okay.
And they sent it to us to do the rocker arm. So this is the prototype rocker arm for the new Brodex M18 head. that the head should be available here in a few weeks, I would think. A few weeks to a month. So we try to get a jump start and have all that done so it's available. And that's actually the rocker arm for the M18.
What's the back?
Yeah, that's the steel rocker arm, and then this is the aluminum rocker arm for it.
Yeah, I just got a set of T&D steel rocker arms. I mean, it was months to get them. You know, so hard to get parts now. How about your availability of this?
We're trying to stock them.
Oh, okay.
Some of the custom stuff, different ratios we're not, but the most common items we're trying to stock, and if we don't have them, we're trying to be able to ship them within a couple of weeks.
Okay. There you go, guys. So it's hard to video this and hold this steady and not shake and move all around. So bear with me. So there's a good answer right there. Be nice to call. Boom, I'll ship it in 4 days.
Well, where people's really ran into problems, the new build you can kind of plan for, but if you break a rocker arm mid-season,
yes,
and you can't get a single or multiples, then you're down for the
good
season.
point. Wow.
This is where we turn the 4-barrel Venturis on the lathe. So they come out of the 5-axis, and this is done at our other facility over in Oregon, Ohio.
Okay.
We just shifted it there, but so we rough all these out, and they don't have a Venturi in them yet. So we have two blanks, one that we do for a 1500 CFM and bigger, and when we do 1500 CFM and smaller, we stock them here, and then when they go in the lathe, determines what size the carburetor is going to be. That way we can keep bodies here ready to go. If someone orders a custom size carburetor, we just turn it in here, turn it,
okay,
it can be done. We don't have to wait weeks on getting back around to running these. So we do that with the Dominator, and then the 4150 also is the same way. They come with just the Venturis roughed in.
Yes.
And then we turn them to size as we get cells in different size needed.
There's another Centroid over there. Look at that.
Yeah, that's the cylinder.
That's monster. How the hell did you get these machines in here?
Yeah, big truck.
Yeah.
These are 9-degree manifolds started.
What degree? 9?
9 degree, the DN9.
Okay.
The DN9, that
Yep.
manifold fits that head.
I love that bolt together manifold, you know? And there's the other half.
Yeah, we do them in stages. There's like, I think 3 setups to get this completely done. So looks like we must have pulled off early to do something with the head.
What head is that?
That is a 3 extra product. That is a 3 extra.
3X.
Yeah, I believe that's what I think this is one.
I look at this, your own proprietary heads. I see a lot of heads that say Brodex on them. Do you work with them?
Yeah, Brodex, we have been with Brodex for 25 years. Good friends with the Brothertons, great people. But yeah, a couple years ago we decided we wanted to do a 16-degree conventional head. And,
okay.
They were willing to cast it for us, and we've been working on it for a couple years, and it's did real well. It ran good. It's been low 420s and bracket form, single 4-barrel. They'll make north of 1,300 horsepower. So
impressive. That's no doubt.
Chunk right there is 1/2 of that manifold.
So let's talk about this. This just amazed me because I've never seen this in this process, only when they're finished. So this intake manifold is made in 2 halves, okay?
Yes.
1/2 comes from 1 block.
Yes, 1 block is 1/2.
What does that weigh, about 50 pounds?
Joey could tell you exactly, but yeah, it's 2 55-gallon drums to make a manifold full of scrap.
So, wait a minute. You're telling me to make a manifold,
You will end up
the
with
scratch is 2
55-gallon drums. I want to say it's like the manifold only weighs 15% of the block. Joey has the exact numbers, but it's amazing how much comes off of it.
There you go, Mrs. and Mrs. Kyle. Thanks, John.
Talking about, this is the way we receive the heads from Brodex. No guide holes, just rough portholes, no machine work.
Wow, look at that.
And everything's machined here. All the guides, seats,
makes everything.
I mean, you make everything for the head.
Yes. we
Everything,
make
except
it.
for the valves.
Correct.
And that's the combustion chamber that
That's one of them.
one style. Yeah. What is this thing?
It's a 30 guide seat machine, a single point. You'll hear Matt always talk about his new and single point.
Yeah.
This is a 30 version of that. There's 5 of them in the country. Now, the
You're
DB
telling me there's only five
of those in the
five of these in the country?
Yeah, Hendrix has one, Roush has one, the Railroad has one or two.
The Railroad?
Yes.
Really?
And then the guy I bought this from had 2 of them, and I'm not for sure who ended up. I don't know if Roush ended up with the other one
Okay.
that he had, or one of the people in Tupland, I think, did. But I was lucky enough to get it at an auction. Now they
Wow.
have reproduced the machine.
Sure.
A cheaper version of it, but when they originally did this machine, it was $280,000. They had a hard time selling it.
Wow.
But yeah, we were lucky enough to get one at auction, one at a single point. Actually, a friend of mine called me up and said, "Hey, this thing's on auction. You might want to jump on there." The guy did cylinder head work for Ford.
Okay.
If they were running production and something went wrong,
Yep.
his job was to take the 10 heads or whatever went wrong and exactly duplicate the valve work that was on it.
Okay.
Okay, so you got old and new.
And here's an older version of a. This is a 30-100.
Regular 30, yeah.
Wow. Can't help but look at that. Eye candy. So now we're walking into, looks like an engine assembly room.
This is where they all go together.
Nice.
This is Joe.
What's up, Joe? Tim Halstead from DragBoss Garage.
Joe Crocker, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
He's the one that puts them all together.
You ever get bored here, Joe?
No, I guess not. Sometimes my feet hurt, but
Once everything's done, here's where it comes to final
Oh, yeah.
assembly. This is 1020 bench. We use all the Audi technology on our flow benches.
So let me ask you a question. So if I had a set of cylinder heads and I wanted to get them flowed, we could do it right here.
Yep.
I mean, there isn't really any other place to go, is there? For anything.
I don't really.
I mean, you got it all here. Cylinder heads, you know, carburetors, rocker arms.
We didn't look at it, but we got across from the dyno. We have a wet flow bench that we can do carburetors.
Yeah.
on. We can actually run a carburetor just as it was on the motor and cylinder heads too.
Okay.
Don't use it as much as we probably should.
Sure.
But this is our 16-degree rocker.
Wow.
Setup. We did that out of aluminum and a steel stand. The aluminum has seemed to be a dampener with the aluminum bar.
You mean with harmonics?
It's definitely seemed to help. David Rear is the one who talked me into doing that.
Okay.
I was a little bit against it at first, and I think we've seen some gains.
Can you tell the subscribers what's an easy way to delineate and why you would use an aluminum rocker versus a steel? Is there a quick,
Well,
easy answer to that?
I'm not a big, to be honest with you, we've made
Yeah.
the aluminum rocker arm as strong as we can make it. I'm not a big fan of the steel rocker arm because I feel like it transfers all the harmonics into the valve train.
Okay.
So I think if you can get the aluminum rocker arm to live, there's some advantages. Now, some things you just can't get them to live in, so there's the advantage to the steel rocker.
You know, say, 1,000 pounds of seat pressure.
Well, and
Laugh
even
out
more
loud.
than that, more the boost.
Yeah,
I
okay,
mean,
yes.
We've been successful in running this on 3,000 horsepower boosted engines, the aluminum.
Okay.
Now, these are 70-75. We've spent a lot of time, a good friend of mine, Bob Mays, who is a guy at SolidWorks that's big into the testing,
Okay.
the dynamic testing, everything, the CFD stuff. We worked with him quite a bit on design,
Okay.
for strength. So I feel like our aluminum's stronger than what's currently available
Okay.
from other manufacturers. So we've been very successful with aluminum. We made steel, one, we needed it, and two, so many people have a bad experience with aluminum, they want it steel.
All right.
So we have to have what people want to buy.
Okay.
But the bar itself, I never give much thought to dampening harmonics. Obviously I knew the rocker could affect it, and I was talking to David Rear, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to see you make those out of aluminum."
And we started talking why, and then we did it on one of the motors that had some valve train problems.
Okay.
And it seemed to help. I think there was a gain there.
You know, I hear Matt talking a lot about how many bolts hold to the head.
Yeah.
Do you
Big
think
deal.
that makes a difference?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The more rigid you can make that, as you'll see, there's extra bolts everywhere, and anything that we would design now. Rockers we make for current heads, we're limited to what's
Okay.
already there.
Now here's a trick question: do you do stuff for Ford heads?
We have not yet, no.
See, there's a first time for everything, guys. Let me tell you.
Well, our Australians are big on the Clevelands.
I know.
And they're on me. They want us to do a lot for the Clevelands because we have a big, it's called Race Mac Directs. Great people, very smart, intelligent people, and they're big into the small block Clevelands.
I have a lot of followers from Australia, and I just had I saw it somewhere where one guy just got his APD carburetor from somebody in Australia.
It would be Race Mac.
He's pretty psyched.
Yeah, great people. One of my favorite customers.
There it is. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you.
Is this a 20-degree head, Joe? I think this is a 20.
That was her machine intake. Obviously, it's canted in there.
That's a 20-degree head that we fully machined here. That'll flow 535 CFM at an inch. It'll go close to 500 at 500 lift, I believe. I think it's 400 lift.
Look at that exhaust port. Nice. But John, I'm just amazed at everything and your work ethic and how things are done here. I mean, can you ever come up with like maybe a mantra or a quote about success?
I've had a lot of people ask me how we've made it, and then my biggest comment is don't quit. If you keep going at something hard enough, sooner or later it'll go the right way.
Okay. So you haven't always had it easy, so to speak.
No, we started, I owned a house up in front of the building at one time.
Yep.
Was a 3-car garage, and we started in there with a Bridgeport. That's what we started with. And all this has come piece at a time, and a
Blood,
lot of
sweat, and
late
tears.
nights. It wasn't uncommon for us to used to start dynoing a motor at midnight and just be wrapping up early in the morning and start all over again.
That's what I like. Dedication. Hard work pays off, and I hope other people that are watching this feel the same way.
No, I always tell people, if you're not willing to work 10 years for free, and sometimes 10 years to lose money, don't start a business. At least
Really?
not in this field. You know, it's too
There you
hard.
go.
It's too hard to make a name and too hard to come to this level. If you think you're instantly going to make money, it's probably not going to happen.
Okay. So here's an engine he's putting together now. Obviously, Big Block Chevy, dart heads, Edelbrock intake. Those aren't your rocker arms?
Those are not. Those are
They look like
CD.
T&D?
Yeah.
Yeah. Steel, look like maybe. Look at that intake. Wait till you see the intake I poured. Wow, nice. How many engines do you have going on at a time?
This time of year, quite a few because it's the off season.
Sure.
But the engines business is the smallest of our business. So we
Okay.
pretty much build engines to stay current on technology. It's hard to build a carburetor or a set of rocker arms or anything of that nature if you don't have a good understanding of the rest of the engine.
Okay.
The fact that we can build it, put it on the dyno, test it, and then get it to our customer in the car and get that feedback is a lot to do with why our carburetor program is so successful.
Do you ever dyno engines and find out, hey, I think this is down a few horsepower?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think like that, or do you take motors back apart at all?
Especially in the last 4 or 5 years, we build more and more motors that are
Okay.
the same. Same camshaft, same
Yeah,
size,
yeah,
same
yeah.
motors. And if the motor's more than 10 or 12 horsepower down, we normally yank it down and figure out why it's down.
Do you really?
I mean, the fact that it leaves here, if we know it can make 1200 and it only makes 1180, there's a reason why.
So you'll tear it back down
Tear it back down and figure out what's going on.
and then re-dyno
Put
it.
it back together and redyno it.
Wow, that's
And
impressive.
have even tore it back down a second time.
Really?
Yeah.
You do what you got to do to meet your goal.
No, well, it's like anything else. If its potential is here and we used all the same parts and we did our job correctly, the results should be the same. And I always tell these guys that work here, we need to never worry about moving ahead until we can figure out how to duplicate what we're doing. And that's something Sonny taught me years ago.
Sonny Leonard.
Sonny Leonard, building carburetors, used to always say, John, it's great that I can get one carburetor that runs really good. He said, but if I can't get the second that runs just as good, it's no good.
And that's so true, because I've always had the same thought. You get a carburetor is like a good woman. Once you get one, you don't want to let it go.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't know what it is. You can make 5 the same carburetor, and I bet you, I don't know about here, but 5 of them could be different.
No, we've actually went through several routines of building 10 of them the same and running them across the dyno to make sure that we are doing, and not just in the beginning. We did that even in recent years, just to make sure we're not missing something, because it's very easy to do something different, especially when you have multiple assemblers. You got one guy assembling everything, it's not a problem, but when you get multiple people doing it and you're multiple people machining parts, it doesn't take a carburetor very much. You might have an orifice a couple thou different or something that will move things. So we still do that. You know, put 10 together, run them all across the machine to make sure they make the same power.
So are all your carburetors tested on a live engine before they're sent?
We do not. We do not.
Okay.
We have test procedures we go through to run them. I've always been kind of torn on that, because if you do test everyone, a customer's getting a carburetor that's had fuel in it, gaskets, needle and seat are exposed to it, so that just starts the process if it's going to set, of them going bad, things of that nature.
Sure.
And 2, from a performance standpoint, your motor you're going to dyno it on is probably not relative to the motor they're putting it on.
Makes sense. Thank you. So here's the machine that they use, the CNC machine, to make these pulleys that we saw over there, which are for the fuel pumps, correct?
Yes.
Nice. I like that. I just love your logo. It's perfect. Nice carbon fiber intake. Now here's where they build all the carburetors, guys. Oh, there's a fuel pump.
That's an internal bypass belt drive fuel pump that we made. That's the pulley you were looking at. Like that's the pulley done.
Oh yeah. I love that. It's like almost the one on my vacuum pump.
And then we do the vacuum pump pulley too.
Oh, do you?
This is, that's the vacuum pump pulley there.
Wow.
That's the mandrel. We do a lot of custom mandrels for different engine builders and whatnot. We did this out of, we used to have people, they didn't like the weight of the steel one, and they didn't like the aluminum ones because they'd break, so we made the mandrel out of steel and aluminum out of pulley and threaded it together. So that goes in there and threads together like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you kind of got the best of both worlds. And then you're talking about like crank trigger brackets and stuff. I know we do something for a Ford. I don't remember which one it was. That's a Chrysler there, but somewhere we do something for a Ford. I don't remember which one it was.
Well, I have a nice easy one if you decide to make it. Look at these. Look at this shelf of carburetors. I mean, there's at least 100. There's probably about 150 right there.
Now this facility, like our facility that I have my other machines at in the gaskets, where we keep all of our bulk inventory. So like any jets or anything like that we do in bulk, we supply here, then the remainder goes over there in bulk, and then it gets
Comes as you need it.
As we need it.
There's some air bleeds. You guys need air bleeds? Wow.
And we've learned, we've built build stations, so you know every guy that's putting carburetors together, working on them, has their own stuff.
Oh,
right
now
in
I
front
see.
of
Oh,
them.
yeah. So, John, I see a lot of guys here. How many guys work for you?
I have 18 to 20, just depending on the day. I got a couple part-timers that come in and out, depending on who's on vacation or what. But
Do you need someone to sweep the floors?
we do. We need someone to do everything.
Come here once a week on Saturday and clean.
Back from anodize, they're they're set here. Most of the time, by the time they get here, they're already spoken for.
Wow.
So this would be after they're out there. Chris gets a good tally of what sizes and how many
Sure.
we have. Those get turned. We might throw a few extra in there, just predicting. And then normally by the time they get on this shelf, they're already spoken for on an order.
I mean, just looking at everything, it looks like you probably build 10 or 15 carbs a day.
Yeah, on a busy month, we do about 350 a month. This time of year, we're starting to get into the ramp up. So
Sure.
we'll go from 175 a month to 200, and whether we'll get back to 350 a month or not, I don't know. That was the most most of the summer we were selling about 350 a month, and that was definitely more than what we're accustomed to.
Are you in the States? Are you selling directly yourself, or are there distribution places that?
We do both.
Okay.
Both. We have a large following. We still do a lot of direct sales, and we have a lot of engine builders and people of that nature that sell them.
So if my subscribers called here, they could order a carb or talk to maybe Joe or someone, kind of give them what they're looking for, combination,
Yeah,
whatever.
We can sell it direct to them, or we can recommend a supplier that,
Okay.
We do have suppliers that stock them. So sometimes if what they have on the shelf fits their need, it's just easier for them to
Sure.
get from them.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, so each station, each guy has his own supplies. So here's some of the parts that they have, small parts. Look at all the squirters. We'll run down through. Up there's all jets, power valves, sight glasses for the carburetor float bowls, jets, jet extensions, throttle shaft bushings, all the screws that you need to put together, cams, all organized. Look at that. Metering block fence. Look at the boosters. There's a 4150 step. Look at that. That's a 4150 Billet Enforcer antler discharge. Pump arms. Look at throttle blades. Gaskets. Now I know where I'm getting my gaskets next time I need them. Look at these. $4,500 straight booster banjo. All made in-house.
Now, like the 4150 booster, we don't make that in-house.
Okay.
We farm that out, but it is cast for us. That is not a Holley part. The only Holley parts we use anymore... Actually, do we use any Holley parts, Randy?
Not really, unless it's like
The diaphragms we have Walker do.
Yeah, unless it's a rebuild or conversion.
Company manufacturer for us would be the 50cc diaphragm.
Okay.
And what else, Randy? The orange poppet?
Yeah, the orange pop it.
And other than that...
Yeah, that little thing, yeah.
Other than that, we manufacture or have a company manufacture for us everything. I would say probably, 90% of it's in-house?
Yes.
I would say 90% of the carburetor's in-house.
Wow.
There's the bowl screws and some of the little
Sure.
fasteners that we don't make. We just can't do it.
Springs.
We can't do it as efficient
Sure.
as what someone else can.
Hey, Randy,
Uh-oh.
do you remember me?
Tim?
That's it.
You don't forget it.
One time I needed a part for my carb, remember? And you were going racing, and I met you in Milan with your motorhome.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Remember that?
Yes. That's been a while.
That's customer service.
We try.
Yeah, he met me there on the side of the road, gave me what I needed. He was off to the track, and I was off to fix the car.
Yes. It's tough sometimes when you got thousands of people to attend to, but you try the best you can. That's it.
Well, thank you for that. That's customer service right there, man.
Well, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Look at all those base plates. There's that Black Widow spacer. Float bowls. All right, guys, so there it is. That's a quick tour of APD. It's amazing to see the technology you have here and what you do. It just blows me away. I thought, oh, he only makes carburetors. He makes everything. So what we're going to do we're gonna dropping that one carburetor off for you to look at, and then John's gonna design me a carburetor for Mrs. DragBoss's car. We wanted one of those nice polished looking, silver Billet Enforcer 1050.
Yep.
We kind of talked about everything. He's gonna build one for us custom for Mrs. DragBoss, and then sorry guys, and then we just talked about it. We're probably gonna bring that engine here in Dyno.
Yeah, we'll get a set of headers.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We'll see what we can do for horsepower.
Yeah.
You know.
In all of this, what do you think about doing some informational videos? So how to adjust needle and seats, and how to set floats and things of that nature.
You mean like you're saying like I go home and I make a video on it? What do you
No,
say?
like you come here and we would set up a time and a place to where we can adjust floats and, you know, adjust idle mixture screws and things of that nature, and get it out to the public so
Wow.
that they're better educated.
I mean, I'm just telling you, the knowledge of a carburetor is like a black art. And I think I see the biggest problem is adjustment.
I agree.
People don't know the basic adjustments of the float level. You know, how do you adjust the secondary throttle points, you know, so you're not becoming transfers. I mean, there's so much.
When all this equates into someone either getting a new carburetor and having problems from the beginning, or having a new carburetor that ran fine and now it doesn't run fine, and they did something they have no idea they did wrong. So now they have a problem they didn't know they created. So if we can better educate them, it leads to more success on their end and our end.
I'm in it. I'm in. You know, anything to build my channel and to give back to the guys that are watching this.
Sure.
You know, a lot of these guys, they would love to have something like that.
Well, and
you know,
I
you
think
probably
it-
get a bunch of phone calls, don't you?
Well, and that's it help police our, you know, customers calling here. If we can have it on social media to where they can have it, they can reach that information after hours. It doesn't have to be during work hours.
Perfect.
And I think it would be good for everyone involved.
Like at the carburetor bench. Hey, let's do a float level. We're gonna show you how we do a dry float level. We're gonna talk about wet float level adjustment, something like that.
Just
we'll do episodes.
Yes, just as we do it here, and that way you have the ability to set it yourself just the way we do.
And you have and then we could take that video and put it on your website.
Absolutely. Or link it to yours.
We'll do it. We got this going, boys. Don't forget, you're always seeing and learning something new at DragBoss Garage. People like the thumbs up on it. So these are some of the pieces of the aluminum. I mean, I was thinking it was cylinder heads, but really, this is all some of the stock that they have before they move it in.